Good afternoon, sir. Welcome.
Is there any problem with the voice or video or anything? You want me to
No, sir,
place
not
it
at all.
somewhere
This is
else?
perfectly audible and visible. Yeah. Should I begin, sir?
Let me check. Okay, from my side. So you decide.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming to this session, sir. And hello, everyone. I'm Hector, coordinator at Kartavya, the Civil Services Society. Welcome you all to this session with Dr. Vijender Singh Chauhan. Before moving ahead, I have a few things to mention. First, that this session is being recorded and it will be uploaded on a YouTube channel. Second, it is going to be bilingual. So whenever you will have any query, you can ask it in either English or Hindi, whatever the language you're comfortable with. Third, whenever you ask a question, make sure that the question is short and crisp so that people can get a chance to ask the queries as much as they can. And any kind of mistakes that will lead to immediate removal from the meeting. And from now onwards, you all will be put on mute by the host. And whenever it will be your turn to ask the question, the host will unmute you. So please maintain the decorum of the meeting. We shall move ahead now. And I would like to hand over the stage to Ayushi and Krishika, moderators for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mehak. सफर में धूप तो होगी, जो चल सको तो चलो, सभी हैं भीड़ में, तुम भी निकल सको तो चलो, किसी के वास्ते राहें कहाँ बदलती हैं, तुम अपने आप को खुद बदल सको तो चलो. A very warm and affable good evening, everyone. I am Ayushi Singh, an Executive Council member of Kartavya, the Civil Services Society, Kirori College, University of Delhi. I extend my heartiest welcome to one and all present here for marking their presence in the third event of this academic session of our society. I would also take the privilege to wholeheartedly welcome Mr. Vijender Singh Chauhan on behalf of Kartavya and Kirori College. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Kartavya is an initiative of Kirori College, University of Delhi, which endeavors to provide a collaborative learning for all the learners, which are emblematic of our principle, Esprit de Corps. Carrying the session forward, I'd like to invite my friend and co-host for the day, Krishika Jaiswal, to introduce our guest to our worthy audience. Over to you, Krishika.
Thank you, Ayushi. I'm professionally elated to introduce such an extraordinary and multi-talented person, Dr. Vijender Singh Chauhan. I hope I have justice to introduce his personality with my words. He is an alumnus of University of Delhi, specializing in the field of media, Sahitya Itihas, gender. He is a teacher, communicator, interviewer, and influencer. He has an experience of 15 years of teaching, and currently he is the Associate Professor of Hindi at Zakir Husain College, Delhi University. For the last 2 decades, he has participated in interview guidance programs and media production for UPSC and PCS aspirants. And he is also considered as one of pioneers in Hindi social media, including earliest Hindi content and blogs. His work has been appreciated by Bharatendu Harishchandra Award by Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, for his original writing in media. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishika. Before moving ahead, I'd like to mention that the session is going to be an interactive one and will also constitute a question-answer segment during the course of the event. All the attendees are requested to write their queries in the live chat box, and we shall address those queries during the course of the event. Sir, I'd like to begin this interaction with a question. As we all know, sir, you are very famous for conducting mock interviews for UPSC aspirants. So can you please throw some light on the foundational aspects of that interview?
You want me to put light on the mock interviews or the UPSC interviews?
The UPSC interviews.
Well, see, before I start, I would like to thank the Kartavya, the society, and the office bearers, and obviously the moderator, Ayushi and Krishna, and obviously the Kirori College. I mean, honestly speaking, when I talk about any Delhi University college, it's more like a home rather than, I mean, I rarely feel like being guest in when we talk about Delhi University colleges. Now coming to the interview aspect, see, you need to understand that, hello, am I audible? Sorry. I hope you're getting my
Yes, sir,
voice.
please continue. Yes.
Right. So the very idea of
Sir, you are on mute.
okay, right. अब आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, you may continue.
So what I'm saying is that as far as this personality testing is concerned, I'm associated with these mock interviews for around 2 decades. And to me, the personality test basically, people believe that it is something that starts after your mains is over, which I want to clarify is not the case. We need to understand that when we talk about personality test, obviously it is being tested after the mains, but the personality which is being produced in front of the board was being made even well before this whole process started. So the personality test, as we know, is required for the partial thing as far as the UPSC civil services examination is concerned. लेकिन बस इतना है कि आप ये ध्यान रखें कि अंततः जो टेस्ट हो रहा है, that is your personality, and your personality is not made in a day, right? So it is personality. And as far as what do we do in it, how do we test the personality? I don't think it's such a rocket science. Actually, honestly speaking, there is a UPSC notification which very clearly suggests कि हम लोगों को किन personality traits को test करना है. There is a list of 7 things which anybody can access in any notification every year. It includes things like critical assimilation, things like integrity, intellectual integrity, moral integrity, and things like that. And these are the things we do. How do we do it is the interesting part of it. And in course of the discussion today, I hope we'll get opportunity to discuss that also. Right?
Thank you, sir,
yes, please,
for sharing such a detail with us. We are really enlightened to hear your words about the foundational values of interview. Your words have certainly clarified today's event, and I hope it will be really great to hear your words, and our audience will acquire a great knowledge from it. अब हम इसी के साथ क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर राउंड के लिए सर आगे बढ़ते हैं. मैं एक एक कैंडिडेट्स को बुलाऊंगी और उन्हें अपने क्वेश्चंस को रिप्रेजेंट करने का मौका मिलेगा.
Since we don't have much questions right now, I'd like to ask my question here. Sir, this is a question being asked by a lot of our participants. So it is a notion generally accepted that one must have a good command of the English language to ace the interview. So what are your views on that? And does the medium of language really matter for the interview?
See, it's not about English language per se, but the fact is that please understand how it works. If you look at the interview process, you'll realize that it appears that it is tough for the candidate, but it is actually tougher for the board. You need to understand that we are given a set of personality traits, right? And we have to evaluate in the person's personality and these traits. And we are given around 20-30 minutes. In 20-30 minutes, how do we find out कि किसी candidate में कौन से personality traits हैं? It's like I've generally give this strange analogy, and it is like if you remember your 8th class textbooks of say Hindi literature or English literature, English language actually. तो आपको याद होगा कि if I ask you कि आपके English की किताब में कौन से lessons थे, chapters थे, तो you'll end up telling me कि उसके अंदर environment पर एक chapter था, उसके अंदर पोएट्री थी, उसके अंदर मतलब लिटरेचर था, उसके अंदर स्टोरी थी, उसके अंदर ऐसे था. If I ask you where was Hindi in it, or for that matter, where was in English, and you realize that there was no English in it. If you have to evaluate or teach language, we don't have a content for it, right? So what do? Apart from a few very little grammar, there is no content in the language which can be taught. The language borrows content from different disciplines and then same applies to the interview. We want to interview the person. We want to evaluate the personality. But unfortunately, there is no way to evaluate the personality. You cannot simply ask the candidate, "Aap ईमानदार हैं कि नहीं?" Obviously, we won't get the answer. So what we do is we actually have a verbal communication, and then there becomes the problem of this medium thing, the verbal communication thing, the communication per se. So yes, when we talk about personality test, it will matter कि आपकी language पर कितनी कमांड है. लेकिन क्या इसका मतलब ये है कि you need to be very very fluent when it comes to English or for that matter Hindi? That is not true. I mean, people sitting on this side of the board realize, and they do very well understand that it's not public speech. It's not public speech. It is you're not going to become a public speaker. What you're going to become is administrator. So you need to know language is true, but you need not necessarily be the most fluent person in the universe, and it will not help. My last, say, around 1,000 interviews suggest in this year only that the best communicators जो हैं, जिन लोगों ने स्कूल डिबेटिंग के हिसाब से उनको लगता है कि उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा किया था, उन्हें we have to suggest that please go slow on verbal communication. Your verbal communication verbal communication is a good thing, but you need to ensure that you have to use language only when it is required. In a nutshell, yes, good language help, but good language, either English or Hindi, is not the most important thing. It is one of the important things. So since you are still in college, yes, please work on your language skills, but don't be let down just because you believe that you know 3, 4, 5 people in your class who speak better than you. That doesn't matter.
Good afternoon. Can I ask my question?
Yes, please.
Yes, please go ahead. Thank you, sir, for answering the former question.
Yeah, good evening, sir. And so my question is, I've heard that, sir, while appearing for this exam, first we must become administrator in the head. So if you could please elaborate on this statement which is made, which I have heard in many other videos and sources also.
Well,
thank you.
Yes, we have been saying it in different formats, in this format as well as other formats, that yes, you need to ensure that you are administrator in the head, which effectively means that you carry the personality of being administrator, both mentally as well as otherwise. And that's why it is so important. Why do we say that it is so important to be administrator personality wise? Is because you need to understand there is this इस पूरे के पूरे ढेर में बहुत सारा भूस है. There's lot of straw and very little actual grains. You have to separate these two. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm hurting your sentiments, but the fact is that though it appears that so many people are preparing, so obviously it's a very big sample to choose from. But honestly, not everybody. That in fact, very few are suited to become administrator, because most of you, again, I'm sorry, I'm hurting your sentiments, but most of you, when you start preparing for civil services, you start preparing civil services because you were told to do so. I mean, just consider when 90% of the candidates we are interviewing nowadays who cleared mains examination are the ones who gave their heart and soul in preparing JEE examination. It itself clears a lot of problems. That they when they were at the age of doing IITs, they were doing IIT preparation. Now they have become in the age of becoming civil services ICS aspirants. They're preparing for civil services aspirants without actually realizing what they actually want to do. So what is your inner calling is the important thing, and that shapes what personality you carry, and that ensures that you have to be very sure that you're doing what you actually want to do. So that's why whenever I'm asked this question, how to prepare for civil services, my first reply is, before I tell you or before you decide how to prepare for civil services, please ask yourself that why should you prepare for civil services? Why is the as important a question as how is? In fact, it is more important than why. And in fact, I'm sorry, but if you're coming from states like Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, or Bihar, then please ask yourself at least thrice, not once. Even if you're able to convince you in the first attempt, please ask it again. And then please ask it again. Why? Because most of the people are trying to become civil servant just because they're trying to become civil servant, because everybody is doing it. It's a bandwagon. And that's why you need to differentiate between actually the administrator in you and somebody who is trying to become civil servant because his friend and her sister and their dog is preparing for it. Please don't do that. Mention that you want to do it, and then you please assess yourself whether you actually will enjoy once you become a civil servant. Because if it is your inner calling, only then you should try to become a civil servant. This is one thing. Second, yes, it is absolutely right that once you're into that mode, you internally become, acquire those traits, and these traits we'll be discussing in the course of the discussion ahead. But yes, you're right, primarily that one has to acquire certain traits before actually preparing for civil services or becoming a civil servant. That's true.
Thank you so much, sir, for
Wait
such a
a
wonderful
second,
answer.
Krishna. I have an announcement to make. Everyone in the audience, please do not unmute yourself directly. Write your questions in the chat box, and the moderators will be inviting you one by one. I request you all again to please write your questions in the chat box.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello. One of my class teacher I have said for joining, but she can't join. The meeting is locked by host.
I'm sorry, I could not hear. Was it addressed to me?
Rishika, please go ahead with your question.
Now I would like to call Vivek Shukla. Please come and ask your question.
सर, एक सवाल बहुत बार पूछा जाता है कि हम इंटरव्यू देने की तैयारी कैसे करें, पर ये मौका बहुत कम पूछने को मिलता है कि एक इंटरव्यूअर इंटरव्यू लेने की तैयारी किस तरह करता है। तो मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि जब आप इंटरव्यू लेने जाते हैं तो आप किस प्रक्रिया से गुजरते हैं, आपके मन में क्या चल रहा होता है, आपके दिमाग, आप मतलब किस प्रोसेस से जा रहे होते हैं? थैंक्स।
Well, Vivek, I can give a long lecture on this actually, but I understand that not many people will be interested in. लेकिन होता ये है, देखिए हम लोग क्या करते हैं, जब हम लोग सेशन शुरू होता है उससे पहले कोशिश करते हैं सारे बोर्ड मेंबर्स आपस में बैठे और मुझे मौका मिलता है एड्रेस करने का, तो मैं बताने यदि you missed a lot, मुझे पास फिर से म्यूट जैसा है। बट एनीवे, आई एम सेइंग कि पता नहीं आप लोगों ने साइकिल चलाना कैसे सीखा, पर इफ यू रिमेंबर तो आप लोगों को जब साइकिल चलाने के लिए किसी सीनियर ने बताया तो 4 चीजें बताई होंगी, हैंडल ऐसे पकड़ना है, सामने की तरफ देखना है, एंड ब्ला ब्ला। बट आज जब आप साइकिल चलाते हैं तो डू यू एक्चुअली डू ऑल दिस थिंग? Actually you do, but you don't do it consciously, right? That is how it works with the interviewers also. Yes, there is a checklist, there is a things we prepare ourselves, but when it comes to us actually performing in the board, then it comes natural. What is my way of doing it, I can tell you. To मेरा बहुत आसान तरीका है, बहुत मुश्किल नहीं. But since I'm a teacher of literature, I've been into this interview thing for 2 decades. What I do is that I look at the DAF. DAF is detailed application form. All of you must be. जब आप यूपीएससी में जाते हैं तो आप यूपीएससी में एक डिटेल्ड एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म पढ़ते हैं, ठीक है? ये 2 पार्ट्स में होता एक पार्ट तो जनरल होता है जिसे आप शुरुआत में भरते हैं, जब आपका मेंस क्लियर हो जाता है तो आपको फिर डैफ 2 भरने का भी मौका मिलता है, और डैफ 1 और डैफ 2 मिलकर आप लोगों का डैफ कहलाता है. Or we are served with your DAF initially before the candidates walk in. And to me, I'm telling you my way. To me, every DAF is a story, right? Every DAF is a story, which effectively means that the person who is walking in is the character of this entire story. आप उसको अगर आप बहुत केयरफुली पढ़ें तो you'll be able to. I cannot share DAF right now because it is inappropriate and unethical, but I do have many DAFs with me right now. तो अगर आप उन DAF को देखें तो वो व्यक्ति कहाँ पैदा हुआ, उसके माता पिता क्या करते हैं, किस डिस्ट्रिक्ट में था, किस स्कूल में था. अब ये these are small pieces of information, but if you read them collectively, you're actually reading a story, right? And I read that DAF as a story. And then the person who walks in is like a character too. Now I already know. In fact, most of the time we ask questions are not for the information we are seeking. Very rarely, and in fact, a very dumb interviewer asks questions for the information, right? If I ask you X, Y, Z information about from your district, idea is not to find some information about your district. We may already have that information, or that information may not be useful at all. So that's why I've been in the feedback I've been giving this suggestion to the candidates that please, before you attempt a question, please ask 2 questions to yourself. One question is whether you know the answer or not, whether you have this information or not, and it is a secondary. Most important thing is please ask yourself that why this question is being asked to you. Right? Not what is the question. What is the question is an easier question to answer. But why this question is being asked? So what preparation we do? We actually have certain ways of asking a few questions on the basis of which we can test certain personality traits. As a matter of fact, more than your ability to give answer, जनरली आपकी पर्सनैलिटी के बारे में जिन चीजों से पता लगता है वो हिस्से हैं जिनके उत्तर आप नहीं दे. वे जनरली वे एरियाज हैं जिनसे पता लगता है कि आपकी पर्सनैलिटी के पॉजिटिव्स और नेगेटिव्स क्या. तो जैसा मैंने कहा कि टेक्स्ट बुक के केस में जब आपको कविता पढ़ाई जाती है, जब आपको कोई पर्यावरण का निबंध पढ़ाया जाता है, तो उसकी इंफॉर्मेशन देना उद्देश्य नहीं है, उसके बहाने हिंदी पढ़ाना या उसके बहाने अंग्रेजी पढ़ाना उद्देश्य है. ठीक वैसे जब हम सवाल पूछते हैं तो सवाल सेकेंडरी चीज है, उनके उत्तर भी सेकेंडरी चीज है. उनसे आपकी पर्सनालिटी के जो ट्रेट्स पता लगते हैं वो ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण, और हम लोग उन पे फोकस करते हैं. मैं कैसे प्रिपेयर करता हूँ? मैं डेफ को क्लोजली पढ़ता हूँ और उससे उसका जो कैरेक्टर निकल कर आ रहा है, उसमें जो समस्याएं मुझे डाउटफुल एरियाज लगते हैं उसके कैरेक्टर को लेकर, उसकी इंटेग्रिटी को लेकर, उसकी इंटेलेक्चुअल एबिलिटीज को लेकर, या उसके एप्टीट्यूड या एटीट्यूड को लेकर, मैं फिर उन पर सवाल. अगर मेरे आप सवालों को क्लोजली देखेंगे तो आपको समझ में आएगा कि आप हर सवाल के बारे में पूछ सकते हैं कि ये व्यक्ति ये सवाल क्यों पूछ रहा है, और तब आपको समझ में आएगा कि शायद इससे पर्सनालिटी का कोई ट्रेट उजागर होने वाला है जिसकी वजह से ये सवाल दिया जा रहा है. And that is how we prepare. We read those DAFs very closely, and on the basis of that we figure out कि इस व्यक्ति की पर्सनालिटी की गांठें कौन-कौन सी, किस जगह पर इस व्यक्ति की पर्सनालिटी में ग्रंथियां हैं, कॉम्प्लेक्सेस हैं, and then we try to unwind those complexes, और उससे उसकी पर्सनालिटी निकल कर आ जाती है. It applies to very privileged people, it applies to very underprivileged people, it applies to men, women, and others. So that is how I do it.
Thank you for the answer, sir. A participant named Harish has raised his hand. I call upon Harish to please ask his question. Harish, please come forward with your question.
Yes, Harish, you need to unmute yourself so that you can ask the question.
Okay, seems like there is some problem at his end. Moving on to the next question. Sharon, please come forward with your question. Sharon. Maybe there's network issue. I'd like to ask the question that Sharon wrote in the chat box.
Yes.
So, sir, Sharon asks, what are the key factors that play a major role in an interview, like our hobbies or optional, etc., show any influence in the interview?
See, what I've been saying is, I've been advising it in the feedback session also, that honestly speaking, there is no syllabus of any personality test. So anything under the sun can be asked. But though it is true that you need to understand that on the other side of the table, people are sitting are human beings. And so there are limitations. So what are these limitations? For you, it is the most important moment of your life. For them, you are another candidate, right? So when it comes to your personality, yes, the optional matters. Yes, your hobbies and interests matter. But what matters the most is that what is the holistic personality that is reflecting out of your depth. Please understand, sometimes the small things which you believe are small things matters more than the most important thing which you believe and you are prepared for, right? For example, एक anecdotal चीजें शायद ज्यादा काम आती हैं। हमारे पास जो कैंडिडेट्स आते हैं उनमें सबसे ज्यादा परेशान कैंडिडेट इस बात को लेकर होते हैं कि सर मेरी तैयारी और मेरी इंटरव्यू के बीच में 5 साल का गैप हो गया है, 7 साल का गैप हो गया है, मेरी ग्रेजुएशन उस साल में हुई थी और उसके बाद मैं अब इंटरव्यू में अपीयर हो रहा हूँ, मैं इसको कैसे जस्टिफाई? टू देम इट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन इन देयर लाइफ. And to tell you honestly, when you're sitting on this side of the board, this is the most stupid question, and we ask it because we don't have any other question to ask. Or it is a warm-up question. It's a question as if, you know, sports mein jate hain to warm up karte hain. So we just throw this question so that every member in the board come to know that interview has started, right? So and it happens every year. It happens in the UPSC and otherwise also. And since you take this because they understand it takes 3-4 years, doesn't matter. For a particular candidate, it may have taken 5 years. They may put a hostile line of questioning just to provoke you. But deep inside, they know that you have put in hard work and that is enough. Right. So similarly, when you talk about hobbies, look at the hobbies. I mean, I've been taking special classes for hobbies before the interviews because people don't realize that they're overthinking on hobbies without actually being honest. I tell you, okay, since you're still undergraduate students, and I presume most of you are undergraduate students, that's why what I'm saying is that rather than cooking up a personality for you, rather than masking your personality for you, being honest is the best way forward. Why don't you just make your personality a better personality rather than showing your personality for half an hour, assuming that you're able to mask it up? Trust me, it is going to be damn difficult to mask it. It's easier. It's more honest. It will be better if you rather mold your personality to a better personality rather than showing that you're a better personality. Just think of us. I mean, 80% of the candidates are writing meditation as their hobby. Can there be anything more silly about a society where a young person like 22, 23, 24 are writing meditation as their hobby? What are we? Are we Taliban, Afghanistan? What are we? I mean, just think of it. Are we a theosophical society? No, we are not. We are a democracy. We want to see you saying that we spend 2 hours every day with friends or other things. I mean, more natural things rather than something which should be good for you when you'll become 55, 60, right? If you're doing meditation now, what will you do when you'll be 60? Will you be romancing around? No, you will not be. So that is the most important thing. This is just be natural. Just be self. Yes, it is important that your natural and self should be very appealing. So rather than masking a personality कि मैं आज से 4 साल बाद जब क्लियर करूंगा तो मैं अपने हॉबी कॉलम में क्या लिखूंगा, उससे अच्छा है कि एक अच्छी हॉबी को अडॉप्ट कर लीजिए, एक अच्छी हॉबी बना लीजिए. अच्छी हॉबी से आप जिंदगी में और भी बहुत कुछ हासिल करेंगे और इंटरव्यू में तो वो एडिशनल एडवांटेज होगा ही. So I mean, trust me, if you are planning to write meditation because there are few questions possible on meditation, that's not the best way forward. It shows a lot about your not being honest about yourself, right? ऑप्शनल्स यस दे डू मैटर. ऑप्शनल जब आप लिख रहे हैं तो मैटर करता है. क्यों मैटर करता है? इसलिए नहीं कि हम आपकी नॉलेज टेस्ट करना चाहते हैं कि आपकी ऑप्शनल में क्या नॉलेज. नॉलेज ऑप्शनल की टेस्ट हो चुकी है आपके मेंस. लेकिन why is it important to write optional? Because to see whether you are being intellectually honest. Are you here just because you read XYZ company notes and you never actually studied a single original book in, say, sociology, if it is your option? And this is one of the favorite questions I generally ask. Mention 3 books which are not Kunjis. And trust me, 70% students are not able to come up with 3 books of their discipline which are not Kunjis. Yeah, they are able to tell me about the Kunjis. And not just that, if you ask them which publisher published that book, which they are mentioning, they fail to mention the name of the publisher, which effectively means that they're not being observant enough, or they're just cooking up. They never read Shyamacharan Dubey, but since they have taken sociology as optional and they know Shyamacharan Dubey is a sociologist, they mention Shyamacharan Dubey without actually going through the books. So my request about the optional thing is, I don't know whether you read it for your mains or not, but for interview, do read a few books which are not Kunjis, right? But then this is a passing comment. Yes, optional will matter, because if you have taken an optional thing, if you have taken an optional, say history or physics or whatever, for a candidate, an interview board member like me would like to see whether you have developed that perspective with that particular optional or not. For example, if you have studied sociology, I may ask you that do a sociological analysis of, say, if your interest is cricket, do a sociological analysis of cricket, or give me a sociological perspective that why women cricket is not being given as importance as the men's cricket is being given. And these questions, this perspective aspect is important. We try to understand whether your optional has given you the perspective or not, or it is just that you have used the optional to clear an examination and it failed to put any impact on your personality. That's it. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful answer. Now I would like to call Mohammed Soeb, our Executive Council member. Mohammed Soeb, you can come and ask your question.
Do we have shirt?
We'll move to the next question then. I'd call upon Shivangi Shukla to ask her question, please. Shivangi Shukla.
Hello, I want to ask. 1 second.
Yes, yes. Sir,
yes, sir.
Please.
Yes,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. बताइए.
सर मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि जो इंटरव्यू का 275 का ये हमारा होता है पार्ट, इसमें से अगर हमें अच्छे से अच्छे नंबर चाहिए तो ये माना जाता है कि 190 से लेके 205 तक 6 तक लाना बहुत अच्छे मार्क्स होते हैं. तो फिर भी ये बहुत अच्छे मार्क्स माने जाते हैं, फिर भी एक लड़की है जैनब सईद, उसके 220 मार्क्स आए अब तक के जो सबसे ज्यादा इंटरव्यू में मार्क्स हैं, आउट ऑफ 275. सर मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ सर क्या क्वालिटीज रहते हैं कि इंटरव्यूअर मतलब 220 से भी ऊपर जा सकते हैं मार्क्स हमारे, तो सर क्या क्वालिटीज रहती होंगी वो जिसकी वजह से उनके मार्क्स आते हैं?
शुभ, ये बात सच है कि एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी केसेस में हम लोगों को इस तरीके के मार्क्स भी सुनने को कभी कभी मिल जाते हैं. 200 प्लस जब भी मार्क्स हम सुनते हैं तो हम लोग एज्यूम करते हैं कि ये कैंडिडेट वाकई बहुत अच्छा रहा होगा. But then please understand that it is not just about the personality. Yes, it is the personality test, but at the same time it is also as we do in cricket. कि क्रिकेट में आपको अच्छा खिलाड़ी होना जरूरी है, अच्छी फॉर्म में होना जरूरी है उस पर्टिकुलर दिन, और देन उस पर्टिकुलर दिन आपकी परफॉर्मेंस जो है वो कई बार ऐसे फैक्टर्स पे भी डिपेंड करेगी जिन पर आपको कोई कंट्रोल नहीं. राइट, इट इज लाइक मोर लाइक अ परफॉर्म. Right? You need to understand. For example, I'm a teacher. I take class every day. Okay? I'm taking a class right at this moment for example. It's more like a class. But we are the same teacher, but we do not perform the same way. It is a performance in any case every day. So on that particular day, a particular person who is definitely carrying a good personality and have prepared well and done so like any other candidate, or maybe more than any other candidate. And also there is a personality of 20-25 years जो उस candidate के साथ में रही है. But then it will also depend on performance on that particular day, or whether it was a good day or a bad day for the person. I'm not using the word luck as such, because I'm not much believer in luck. But yes, you need to understand that on that particular day, the performance will better. But I can only advise the aspirants. I'm presuming that most of you are either aspirant or you want to become aspirant someday. That please don't calculate 200 plus in your calculation and scheme of things, right? That's not usual. You don't prepare to become top. You prepare to become a civil servant. So don't prepare to, don't make a calculation that you'll be getting 220, 210, 205. To me, in the preparation mode, you should actually be writing 175 against the interview. That is a good interview, right? 175 आप इसमें काउंट करके चलिए, बाकी आप मेंस में काउंट कीजिए और अपने एसए में काउंट कीजिए, मतलब मेंस के बाकी पेपर्स में और एसए में काउंट कीजिए और उसके हिसाब से कैलकुलेशन कीजिए. On a good day, maybe you'll hit 200, but that is not a normal thing to presume. उनमें क्या अलग होता है? कुछ अलग नहीं होता. The only thing जो अलग होती है वो ये है कि to me, they are honest people. And second, as the other students said, कि वो दिमाग से पहले ही, मन से पहले ही bureaucrat बन चुके होते हैं. They are the candidates जिनको देख के लगता है कि they are ready to join. I mean, they can be sent to field tomorrow. That kind of candidate. I've been interviewing for quite some time and had met many candidates for whom we used to believe that and they used to get good marks in interview, but they were candidates who could not finally qualify because of the other things. You need to understand that we normally talk about three things. One is that reading, other is writing, and third is thinking. These are the three things that makes you a civil servant, right? तो रीडिंग राइटिंग अगर आपकी अच्छी नहीं है तो कई बार आप बहुत अच्छी पर्सनालिटी होने के बावजूद, इनफैक्ट बहुत अच्छे नंबर लाने के बावजूद भी हो सकता है कि यू एंड अप गेटिंग Pondicherry police service or anything like that. And not that it's a bad service, but the only thing is that interview, what I'm trying to say is that interview is not the only thing. It is one of the many things.
Okay, sir. Thank you,
Thank you so much, sir. I'll ask a question on Shivangi Shukla's behalf. She writes, sir, if a candidate wants to prefer any services other than IAS or IPS in civil services, how can he or she explain the reason for their preference? As this might be the question from the board members too. Since IAS and IPS are more preferred services, how in such cases an aspirant can support the reason for his or her preference?
See, if your choice is not foreign service, IPS, IAS के अलावा अगर foreign service, if it is a foreign service, you get actually some kind of a advantage of writing foreign service as your first preference, right? लेकिन अगर इसके अलावा आपने किसी सर्विस को भरा है, वो जनरली रेवेन्यू भरते हैं, then obviously in the minds of the interview board members, the issue of integrity, right? We all know that revenue service is not the most challenging service when it comes to doing things, right? Obviously, revenue service ने इस तरह की अपनी जो reputation earn की है कि it raises the question of integrity. इसके लिए I can't blame them. Obviously, there is a whole ecosystem which is to be blamed. But yes, asking if your choice is not IAS, IPS, or IFS, then obviously you'll be grilled on these choices, and then you need to have a real good reason apart from opportunity to earn a lot of money that you need to understand. And let's face it. I mean, understand that you'll be putting it on the YouTube, and then there'll be a troll army saying it. But then you need to understand. And why would somebody choose a service which for 35 years will be a desk job? Why? What exactly? I mean, there can be, I can think of a CA who is choosing a revenue service, which is understandable to some extent, though still not understandable to the extent that why it should be a first preference. But let's grant it. But if you have done a BA honors history or a BA honors political science and revenue service is your first service, I mean, there is a clear mismatch. And if there is a clear mismatch, I think it is perfectly understandable that the board members will not be happy about this mismatch and they'll be asking questions. So you need to have a good reason. But once you have decided, then obviously you'll be able to find out those reasons and you'll be able to share those reasons with the board members. And board members are not dumb. They'll be able to see through it, whether you're being honest or not. I'm repeatedly insisting that you need to be honest to yourself. And then you should be honest to the board with whom you'll be discussing these things. If you're able to do that, you'll be able to justify it. Second, yes, it is an important question, but it may not worth more than 5-10 marks, unless of course you actually mess it up. अगर आप मान लीजिए कोई बिना मतलब का आदर्श उत्तर देकर बोर्ड को आबैल मुझे मार की तरह अपने ऊपर पुश नहीं करा ले, तो कोई वजह नहीं है कि इससे आपको कोई बहुत बड़ा नुकसान होने वाला है. 5 नंबर 7 नंबर ठीक है, चलिए कोई बात नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होता तो अच्छा. That's it. So don't worry about it. But then I'm again asking as a very curious person, why do you want to choose any other service apart from IAS, IPS, and IFS? I mean, these are the gems of the service. Everything else is only a sarkari service. कोई भी सरकारी नौकरी है. The actual real fun is in the IAS, IFS, IFS, and IPS. I mean, every service is a good service. It's better than being unemployed, but it's just better than being unemployed. By the way, can I just pitch in giving me an anecdote? I happen to say the same things in an interview. आप देखेंगे तो शायद मिल जाएगा. UPPCS के इंटरव्यू में ऐसा कुछ बोल दिया, जिसका मूल भाव ये था, जैसे मैंने रेवेन्यू सर्विस के लिए बोला. उसके बाद रेवेन्यू सर्विस, वहां की रेवेन्यू सर्विस जो है, उत्तर प्रदेश रेवेन्यू सर्विस की जो एसोसिएशन, उसने मुझे एक लेटर लिखा और उसके बाद मेरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को भी एक लेटर लिखा, ये कहते हुए कि देखिए ये जो बात कही गई है ये हमारी ईमानदारी पर संदेह करती हुई बात है और हम चाहते हैं कि आप इस बात को वापस ले लें, नहीं तो हम आपके खिलाफ कार्रवाई करने के लिए विवश होंगे. I mean, I don't understand. Why don't you do something better so that the perception is better about you in the society, rather than blaming who is kind of saying what is the perception in the society. It's like the same manner कि आप दहेज लेना चाहते हैं, लेकिन आपको दहेज लोभी न कहा जाए इस बात की का अनुरोध भी करते रहते हैं. I mean, just a passing comment. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to call Yashika.
I can't see Yashika. Yashika, can you hear me?
Good evening, sir.
Yes, Yashika.
Sir, my question is, what are the common mistakes that people make in interview, as per your experience, like which make them unable to clear the whole process?
Well, first and the foremost mistake is they become dishonest in the interview. That is, I mean, repeating it, I'm sorry. Second is they believe that not answering or speaking, masking, to be honest, to be precise, कि अगर उनको ये भ्रम रहता है कि अपनी पर्सनालिटी में झांकने न देना, not allowing board members to peep into their personality is the best policy. Trust me, this is the biggest mistake anybody can make in any interview. Personality test is not an obstacle to you and between you and your success. It is not. This primary mistake that people start to believe that they cleared examination. Now there is an obstacle left. And what is the obstacle? Personality test. So the interview is the obstacle, which is not the case. Please understand, board is not there to stop you from becoming a civil servant. They are there to facilitate you to become a civil servant if there is a civil servant in you. So what you have to do is allow board members to peep into your personality, welcome them, and then show best of yours so that you sail through. If you try to stop them by writing lofty things or incorrect things in your diary, or saying lofty things or lies after lies in the interview, hoping that they are believing it. Trust me, the moment you start speaking lies, the board member know that you're lying. The moment you start doing, I mean, they're a person with experience. Usually, they are able to guess even before what you're thinking is visible from the other side of the table. So the biggest mistake is trying to mask the personality, not allowing board members to peep into your personality, or thinking that the personality test or interview is some kind of an obstacle. It's neither. It is a facilitating movement. It is a movement you should be actually enjoying. And that is the key thing I've been saying for many, many years. Please enjoy the conversation process. If you're enjoying it, your work is half done, right?
Thank you so much, sir. अब मैं यशस्वी को बुलाना चाहूंगी. यशस्वी, प्लीज अपना क्वेश्चन पूछे. यशस्वी.
Yes, Yashashvi, I can't see you, but please ask your question.
Okay, moving on to the next question. I'll ask question on Tejaswini's behalf. Sir, do more achievements or laurels enrich or influence staff?
Okay, which effectively means that you're saying कि अगर आपने अपने school में, college में, you've got a bunch of certificates, will it be good for the interview? Partially yes, not necessarily. Please understand, I call it a heavy def, right? I hope सब लोगों को ये सवाल समझ में आया. The question is that if a person's life so far is full of laurels, is so many achievements. उसको पहली क्लास में मॉनिटर बनाया गया था, तीसरी क्लास में उसने फैंसी ड्रेस कंपटीशन में हिस्सा लिया था, सातवीं क्लास में उसने वो फर्स्ट आया था, आठवीं क्लास में उसने रेस में हिस्सा लिया था, 10वीं क्लास में वो MUN में गया था, वगैरह वगैरह. So there are many certificates, and the DAF is full of these achievements. Will it benefit? Partially yes, but if you ask me honestly, please understand, we call it heavy DAF. Heavy DAF is a DAF which is full in the columns 7, 8, 9. I mean the DAF के वो columns जिसमें आपकी achievements लिखी जाती हैं, आपकी hobbies लिखी जाती हैं, आपके interests लिखे जाते हैं, आपके sports, NCC लिखा जाता है. वो वाला column अगर बहुत अच्छे से भरा हुआ है, we call it heavy DAF. Heavy DAF has it's a two-edged sword, right? Two-edged sword क्यों है? दो धारी तलवार क्यों है? पहली बात, heavy DAF का मतलब होता है this story. As I said, every DAF is a story. This story is full of landmines. There are many landmines because everything you write on your DAF, especially in these columns, is a possible landmine. It can blast, right? क्योंकि आप उसके जब आपके सामने लिखा हुआ तो आप उसके बारे में कुछ पूछ सकते हैं. Or anything under the sun can be asked. And if you claim, for example, you participated in a model UN when you were in school. It's such a simple thing to do. You never knew that it can boomerang. But if you participated in an MUN and you are not able to answer the basic functions of United Nations or the history of United Nations, which board members may ask. अब वहां पे आप ये क्लैरिफाई करने लगे, नहीं सर ये तो मॉडल यूएन था, इट वाज मोर लाइक अ डिबेटिंग कंपटीशन, इसका वास्तविक यूएन से कोई लेना देना नहीं. It won't work. Right? You're getting the point. So everything you write in terms of laurels and achievements is a possible landmine. So writing less is good? No, because every possible landmine is a possible opportunity. Right? So it's both. If you have done things well, you're getting when I take these classes of interest and hobbies, what I say is that your hobby is your window to your personality. It is different from you scoring 78% or 98% marks in class 12. It doesn't matter because everybody appears in class 12 and gets either 78 or 98. Doesn't matter. But when you write something that you achieved something, or is something your interest or something your hobby, these are your chosen words. These are chosen aspects of your personality, which you have decided to divulge, right? So in a sense, these are window to your personality. As I said, good person is one who allow candidates, good candidate is the one who allow board members to peep into your personality. How will they peep into your personality? Through these windows. So these are windows to your personality. So in a sense, yes, since you're providing windows to your personality, you get a positive, a welcoming board, because board appreciate the fact that you're allowing board members to peep into your personality. Rather than somebody who's considered, I mean, I don't want to name it, but I mean, we've been getting candidates every day There's a candidate who's writing in the column of hobbies and interests that he is ranked 3 in the practice test series of UPSC. What is this? You've been doing UPSC preparation, civil service preparation, and when you get time of civil service preparation, you get into civil service preparation. There's no hobby in it. There's no personality in it. Your personality is too polarized, right? So you need to have a diverse personality, which is definitely a good trait. But then you need to have only as many landmines as you can handle. You cannot have 10 hobbies, 15 areas in which you have achievements, and 20 other factors which you consider your interest. That will not be a wise thing to do. It means you'll be losing focus. But yes, rich DAF is definitely better than poor DAF. That's it.
Thank you so much, sir. Krishika, will you ask your question? Okay, all right. I'll call upon Banka Ramchandra to please ask his question. Banka Ramchandra. I'll ask the next question on behalf of Shivendra. Sir, he writes, what really personality in general means and how to know what I need to improve?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for this question, because it is the ultimately the thing which matters. What exactly is personality? And how do we change it or modify it or make it appropriate for our whatever our life goals? See, obviously there are definitions in psychology about personality. I'm not getting into those. You can always Google and find out what Google says what personality is. To me, we need to understand that there is something called person, which you are, right? And your mental makeup and your socialization so far, I mean, your life experiences, your memories, they constitute your personality too, right? तो मेरे लिए पर्सनालिटी आपकी क्या है, व्यक्तित्व क्या है? मेरे लिए व्यक्तित्व का मतलब है कि जो आप व्यक्ति हैं वो जिस स्मृति से बना हुआ है, जिस मेमोरी से बना, जिन अनुभवों से बना हुआ, एक्सपीरियंसेस से बना हुआ, और जिन गुणों का समुच्चय है, उनके कलेक्टिव रूप को मैं आपकी पर्सनालिटी मानता हूँ. इसमें आपके उन अनुभवों की भूमिका है, उस सामाजिक आर्थिक पृष्ठभूमि की भूमिका है, your socio-economic background you're coming from, and the entire mental makeup of yours that constitute personality. Now, to answer that, how do we change, or why do we change our personality to suit a particular thing? That is primarily because you have chosen rightly or wrongly. And let me be very honest here. Many people choose wrongly a particular career path, which requires certain kind of personality. Not to mention that even in the personality within administration have to be diverse. So how do you change your personality for good? Please change the things which you can change and forget about the things you cannot change, right? What are the things you can change? You can change your current setting. आप किन लोगों के साथ हैं, आप किन लोगों के साथ रहते हैं, किन लोगों के साथ बातचीत करते हैं, इसे आप थोड़ा बहुत बदल सकते हैं और इससे आपकी पर्सनालिटी पर फर्क पड़ता है. आप अपने आप को किन अनुभवों में डालते हैं, the settings on which you put yourselves to acquire experiences, these things can change. To me, somebody who is, for example, suppose a person X coming from, coming from Buxar, Bihar, and is in Delhi preparing for civil services, staying in Mukherjee Nagar, right, or say staying in Nehru Vihar, and has got 10 friends. 10, all of them are coming from his district or his state. There is no diversity in your experiences. There are no women members in your group. There are no Northeast person in your group. There is no diversity in the experiences you're coming from. You're basically building a polarized personality. You want to restrict yourself to a definite comfort zone. And on one good day, when this question is asked to you, why do you address always when you're addressing a person, why do you address as he and not she? तो आप कहते हैं ये अजीब सा सवाल हो गया. You're getting what I'm saying? जब आप ऐसे लाइफ एक्सपीरियंसेस से आ रहे होते हैं जहां आपके लिए व्यक्ति का मतलब लड़का होता है, ठीक है, जैसे मान लीजिए आप इलाहाबाद से अगर आते हैं तो इलाहाबाद में तो स्टूडेंट का मतलब लड़का, ठीक है ना, तो आप वहां से आ रहे हैं, उसके बाद जब आपको ये पॉइंट आउट किया जाए तो आप कहेंगे कि सर मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ, ये मुझे तो ऐसे ही पता था. This is because you're not putting yourself into diverse opportunities where a diverse personality can come up. So there are many people who have no friend from say minorities. There are many people who have never interacted with a Northeastern girl, and they want to believe that they are as good as somebody who is who carry a good diverse personality and is comfortable with all sex, genders, and cultures. So diversity matters. Please put yourself into situations where you get diverse experiences. These will create your personality. Also, equally important is, since you, for example, I mean, you please identify your privileges. I'm presuming that many of you are studying from Kirori College. The Kirori College, being in Kirori College, is a privilege which is not available to majority, in fact, mostly. Most candidates who are civil service aspirants. You need to exploit this privilege to your advantage. I mean, I don't know if you're into Kirori College and the only society you're part of is a civil services preparation society, Kartavya. I'm sorry, you're not doing justice to yourself. I mean, this is a huge opportunity. Go take a walk. Go into this theater society for once. See what they're doing. Similarly, other societies. I mean, I know Kirori College is a very vibrant community. So what I'm saying is to do good to your personality rather than masking it, rather than assuming or proclaiming that you have a diverse personality. Please acquire diverse experiences if you can. Don't believe that these are obstacle to your preparation for civil services. These are not. You only need 16 months of preparation for becoming a good civil servant. If you ask me, it is only 16 months you need to be on table and prepare. Everything else is a preparation that is happening in the society, in the college, with the friends, with the different clubs and societies, with the talks and things like that. Please don't skip these because you have to read that India or you have to read the books from, sorry, not even books, Kunjis from XYZ coaching center. No, don't do that. Right? Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to ask a question on the behalf of Leeladhar. How should we integrate our preparation for interview along with our usual preparation right from the beginning?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the name of the person you asked me.
Leeladhar.
Leeladhar. Fine, Leeladhar, ये अपने एक अच्छा सवाल कि मुझे मेंस की तैयारी करनी, मुझे प्रीटी की तैयारी करनी और मुझे इंटरव्यू की तैयारी करनी, तो मैं इसके लिए कैसे अलग से तैयारी करूं? आई एम सॉरी, मुझे नहीं पता कि क्या किसी भी व्यक्ति को इंटरव्यू की तैयारी अलग से करनी चाहिए, नहीं करनी चाहिए. मेरा मानना है कि जिस समय आप अपने प्रीलिम्स की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, अपने मेंस की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, बल्कि इनफैक्ट जिस समय आप प्रीलिम्स और मेंस की तैयारी भी नहीं कर रहे, उस समय आपको अपने इंटरव्यू की तैयारी हो रही होनी चाहिए. प्लीज, अगेन आई एम सेइंग, प्लीज डोंट मेक अ चेकलिस्ट of 10 things you want to have in your personality, so that when you appear in the personality test, you can show that I have got these 10 qualities. No, don't do that. Why? Because these qualities are not required for personality test. These qualities are required in the personality, so that you become a good civil servant. In fact, before becoming a good civil servant, you become a good human being and you become a good student, good citizen. If you're not a good citizen, if you're not a good human being, if you're not even a good person, you cannot become a good citizen. That is as simple as that. So try and acquire these things, and please trust me. I mean, I know there are 10 lakh people who have filled the form, and that's why it appears so difficult. But civil services is not the most important thing of your life. It is not. If you're able to grasp this aspect, you'll become a better civil servant. And if you have such a polarized personality that you believe that this and only this thing is what make you a human being, then you'll not become a good civil servant either. Forget about becoming good. So be a holistic person. Trust me, you'll be enjoying the entire process. You'll be enjoying becoming a human being. You'll be enjoying everything. If you shut yourself from everything, saying that, okay, these 10 traits I'll show in the personality test and I'll become a good human being, I'll become a good civil servant, you won't. So what I want to suggest you is, please enjoy your life. Please have life. In fact, I've been saying it for many, many times that you should start your preparation after first breakup, not before that. Have experiences in your life so that you actually can carry the personality that is required to be a mature, good civil servant, right?
Thank you so much, sir. You're actually giving us the right direction we're looking for. I'll ask another question on behalf of Bakar Ram Chaudhary. Sir, he asked, सर परिवार की आर्थिक स्थिति अच्छी नहीं हो तो ज्यादातर लोग यही सलाह देते हैं कि आपको पहले कोई अन्य जॉब ले लेनी चाहिए, बाद में जॉब में रहते हुए प्रशासनिक सेवा की तैयारी करनी चाहिए. आप बताइए, क्या यही करना चाहिए?
बाकरराम, I'll be honest with you. मैं आपके साथ ईमानदारी से बात करूंगा, और ये मैं इसलिए ईमानदारी से बात करूंगा क्योंकि इट मैटर. देखिए, अगर हम लोगों को कुछ ये लगता है, जैसे हम लोग तो, मैं तो फोकस करता हूँ पर्सनैलिटी टेस्ट, लेकिन अगर कुल मिलाकर भी सिविल सर्विसेज की अगर बात करें तो आप पाएंगे कि सिविल सर्विसेज में जितना हिस्सा आपका है उससे ज्यादा हिस्सा उस कल्चरल कैपिटल का होता है जो एक व्यक्ति कैरी करता है. कल्चरल कैपिटल, सांस्कृतिक पूंजी का है. मतलब आप किस परिवार से आते हैं, आपके परिवार में कितनी किताबें हैं. अब ये सिलेबस की किताबें हो जरूरी नहीं है, लेकिन आपके परिवार में अगर किताबें हैं, आपके परिवार में 500 किताबें रखी हुई हैं, आपके घर में 4 बुक शेल्फ हैं जिनमें 500 किताबें हैं, भले ही आप उनमें उसमें से सिर्फ 85 किताबें पढ़ी हो या 10 ही किताबें पढ़ी, लेकिन इसका मतलब है एक ऐसे परिवार में आते हैं जो ज्ञान का महत्व समझता है, और उससे आपका जो कल्चरल कैपिटल है वो बिल्ड हो रहा होता है. ठीक है. अब जाहिर है कि सबके पास ये सुविधाएं उपलब्ध नहीं. हमने अभी कहा था अपने प्रिविलेजेस को पहचानिए. आप किरोड़ीमल कॉलेज में पढ़ते हैं, दूसरा व्यक्ति छगनमल कॉलेज में पढ़ता हो किसी फिरोजाबाद के, तो उसकी तुलना में आप बेहतर स्थिति में. तो अपने प्रिविलेजेस को पहचानिए. पर आपका कहना बिल्कुल सही है, अगर आपकी सामाजिक आर्थिक स्थिति बहुत अच्छी नहीं है तो मैं ये कहकर झूठ नहीं बोलूंगा कि इससे कोई असर नहीं. इससे असर पड़ता है. मतलब आप अनुमान कीजिए कि हम लोगों ने, मैं नाम फिर से नहीं लूंगा, इस साल हम लोगों ने एक कैंडिडेट का इंटरव्यू लिया. उस कैंडिडेट के पिताजी किसी इंटरनेशनल एजेंसी, और जाहिर है कि पहले आईएएस थे, फिर किसी इंटरनेशनल एजेंसी में एक सीनियर पोजीशन पर थे. हमने उनसे कहा कि आप तो बहुत प्रिविलेज है. ये सवाल मेरा बहुत कॉमन सवाल है, आप लोगों ने पहले भी देखा होगा. कोई प्रिविलेज बैकग्राउंड से आता है तो मैं पूछता हूँ कि आप तो इतने प्रिविलेज हैं, व्हाई शुड यू कम टू सिविल सर्विसेज? आपको तो लोगों के दुख दर्द का पता ही नहीं हो. आप जानते हैं उसका रिप्लाई क्या था? उसका रिप्लाई था, नहीं सर ऐसी बात नहीं है. When I was in that state, जहाँ से मैंने स्कूलिंग की, वहां तो I was more of a, मुझे प्रिविलेजेस नहीं थे. वहां तो मेरे पिताजी सिर्फ डीएम थे. कैन यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट? वहां उनके पिताजी मात्र डीएम थे. ये उनकी मोस्ट अंडर प्रिविलेज सिचुएशन थी. अब जाहिर है कि ऐसे लोगों से जब आपको कम्पीट करना पड़ेगा तो प्रिविलेजेस का इशू आएगा. ऐसे में मेरी सलाह आपको क्या होनी चाहिए? कुछ अच्छे वीडियोस अवेलेबल है. डॉक्टर विकास देवीकीर्ति ने इस प्रश्न का अच्छा उत्तर दिया था, मैं चाहता हूं उसे आप देखें. वो बल्कि जयपुर में ही शायद दिया था. उन्होंने ये कहा कि देखिए, वही वाली बात है कि आपको चाहिए तो 16 महीने. इट्स अ नाइस पिक्चर बट आई एम प्रोबेबली नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन दिस. राइट. तो सवाल ये है कि आपके पास जितना समय है और आपके पास जितने रिसोर्सेज हैं उनका बेस्ट इस्तेमाल कीजिए. कुल मिलाकर आपको 16 महीने, मैं मानता हूं, इस काम के लिए छोड़. 2 साल मान लीजिए कि 2 साल तो ऐसे होने चाहिए जिससे में आप यूपीएससी की तैयारी, बाकी आप जो भी काम कर रहे होंगे उसके साथ भी तैयारी चल सकती. ठीक है. थोड़ा सा लॉन्ग टर्म रखिए, दूसरे लोगों की तुलना में 1 साल ज्यादा रखिए अपने उसमें, कि चलिए बाकी लोग 3 साल का 4 साल का रखते हैं, मैं 5 साल रखता हूँ कि 5 साल के अंदर बनूंगा. 2 साल पूरी तैयारी के हो गए, बाकी 3 साल आप कुछ दूसरे काम करते हुए भी दे सकते हैं, इसके साथ आप नौकरी करते हुए भी देख सकते हैं। लेकिन आप जो नौकरी पकड़े उस नौकरी को इस वाली प्रिपरेशन के साथ कंपैटिबिलिटी जरूर, ऐसा ना करें कि आप एक ऐसी नौकरी ले लें जिस नौकरी के बाद आपकी तैयारी बिल्कुल ना हो पाए। अगर आपके पास ये चॉइस, अगर आपके पास चॉइस ही नहीं तो जाहिर है कि जो भी नौकरी आपके पास है वही करें। लेकिन अगर आपके पास चॉइस है तो कोशिश करें कि आप ऐसी नौकरी को पकड़ें जिस नौकरी के साथ आप थोड़ी बहुत तैयारी कर सकते हैं। दूसरा, तैयारी की लेंथ एंड ब्रेथ की बजाय डेप्थ को बढ़ाएं। यानी कि आप दिन में 8 घंटे 10 घंटे नहीं पढ़ सकते, कोई बात नहीं, 5 घंटे पढ़े, लेकिन फिर उसे ज्यादा फोकस तरीके से पढ़े, ज्यादा ईमानदार तरीके से पढ़े। और दूसरा, ये मत मान के चलिएगा कि इससे आपको हमेशा नुकसान होगा कि आपको नौकरी के साथ करना। आप वहां से जो मेच्योरिटी लेकर आएंगे, वहां से जो डाइवर्सिटी ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस लेकर आएंगे, वो उन लोगों के पास उपलब्ध नहीं होगी जिनके पिताजी मात्र डी है। ठीक है ना, आप इस बात को समझ पा रहे हैं? तो उस वाले हिस्से को भी आपको समझना है कि ऐसा नहीं है कि इससे हमेशा नुकसान। हम लोगों को, जो लोग बहुत हम्बल बैकग्राउंड से आते हैं, पर्सनैलिटी इसमें साफ साफ दिखाई दे जाता है। इस साल हम लोगों ने दक्षिण भारत की एक लड़की का इंटरव्यू लिया, नाम नहीं फिर से बताऊंगा, लेकिन उनके पिताजी वर्कर हैं। वर्कर मतलब कि वो रोजाना कुछ सामान बनाकर गली गली में बेचने जाते, अभी भी ऐसा नहीं कि वो थे, अभी भी। और वह लड़की इस बात के इंटरव्यू फेस कर रही है। आप इससे अनुमान लगा सकते हैं कि ऐसा नहीं है कि केवल IAS के बच्चे ही बनेंगे, बट देन यू हैव टू बी प्रैक्टिकल, यू हैव टू बी रियलिस्टिक, एंड यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड बोथ योर प्रिविलेजेस एंड डिसएडवांटेजेस। उनके साथ उस गैम्बिट को समझकर आप लोगों को अपने प्लान बनाने चाहिए। और ये बात तो सब पर लागू होती है, अंडर प्रिविलेज पे भी, ओवर प्रिविलेज पे भी। ऑलवेज कीप अ प्लान बी। विदाउट अ प्लान बी डोंट गेट इट। जो लोग कहते हैं कि नहीं, अर्जुन की आंख की तरह एक ही चीज दिखाई देनी चाहिए, दे डोंट अंडरस्टैंड हाउ ब्यूटीफुल डाइवर्सिटी है। तो कीप इट दैट इन योर ड्रीम्स आल्सो, राइट?
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to call Tushar.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I am Tushar, third year student of BCom Honors and current cabinet member. Sir, my question is regarding the importance of extracurricular activities, especially in the CSE interview, when a candidate who has a prior experience of corporate working, like as an employee for a short term or as an intern for a short term, also when a candidate have worked under the NGOs, like as a volunteer for a short term period of time in the sector of education and poverty, etc. So, sir, what importance does this carry in our interview?
Sir, Tushar, thank you for mentioning it. Right. See, देखिए इसके दो, it will have two pronged impact. One is that if you have actually worked in these places, be it co-curricular activities, be it as an intern, or these at actual corporate working, then it will reflect in your personality. Right? You don't need to carry it on your sleeves unnecessarily or announce it aloud, though obviously you'll be mentioning it in depth. It will become part of your personality. And the personality is what is being tested. You need not even mention it that where you're getting these traits from. It will be reflecting in your personality. That is one. Second is obviously the aspect that you'll be announcing it. You'll be writing in your DAP. So obviously your DAP will become a richer document. So both ways it is going to be beneficial, provided it is not in contradiction with your announced or carrying personality. Please understand, as I said, every DAF is a story, and it should not be fragmented. It should not be contradictory to each other. If you're carrying a personality that and these past experiences are not matching with each other, it won't work, right? So my understanding here is that these things are definitely a big plus, provided you're able to handle it both in your personality and in your interest. And co-curricular activities, definitely one of the most important things if you're in college. Don't miss any theater performance happening in your college just because you believe that you have to read Yojana. Yojana पढ़ने से ज़्यादा जरूरी है कि अगर आपके कॉलेज में कोई थिएटर की स्क्रीनिंग हो रही है तो उसे देखें.
थैंक यू सो मच सर। अब मैं इशिता को अपना प्रश्न पूछने के लिए बुलाना चाहूंगी। इशिता, प्लीज कम फॉरवर्ड। Okay, I'll ask the question. The question goes, sir, often we have seen in the mock interviews that questions which may reflect our political bias are asked. And even after trying to give a neutral answer, the question is put up again. So what is the best way of answering such a questions? And can we give an honest answer in such a case?
To be honest, I mean, you're moving 4 steps ahead. You're actually asking as if you have cleared the mains examination. And then this question actually occurred that, okay, since I've cleared the mains examination and I have to appear in the interview 4 days from now, tell me on name changing in UP what I have to speak, or on population policy of UP what I have to speak, or things like that. Please trust in the process. The process of clearing mains examination, which will happen in due course, which will take a lot of time, will also give you maturity. And then you'll be able to realize that why this question is being asked. As I said, what is the question and why is the question is important? When the question is asked, okay, give me this political thing, why? Because before that, most of the time you have already indicated by some action or by some answers or by some gesture that you're a person who will run away when controversial things will come. If that is the case, if that is your personality, you let that initiative to be honest and to be forthcoming, then the board members will grill you and will ask you to take a stand, take a stand. We've been saying it very clearly. We are not choosing slaves. The system is not choosing slaves. System is choosing well-thinking, intellectually upright individuals who are supposed to be good citizens. So obviously they will have some opinion. The thing is whether you are in position to put forward your opinion in a manner that it appears unbiased, in a manner that it appears that you have this ability to say truth to the power without offending the power. Right, that is what the bureaucrats will be doing. Once after 16 years from your joining, you'll become a joint secretary. You'll become in 20-25 years you'll become a secretary. Then you'll be asked to say truth to the power, and power will be the minister or the even higher. So will you just hold your opinion just because you believe that the minister will be angry at you? No. Will you make the minister angry? No. You'll find a way of saying it in a manner that despite saying the truth, you're not letting the minister become angry. That's what is expected in an interview. There are many ways of saying it. For example, I've been suggesting candidates, it is said, it is believed. There are several phrases which actually suggest that you're giving your opinion, you're giving your honest opinion without actually offending the person. So personally speaking, I'll do this. That's it. Right? And don't worry about it. Please don't skip processes. You just cannot jump 4 steps and say कि सर इस वाले इशू पर बताइए कि क्या बोलूं. वो जब आपके पास मौका आएगा उससे पहले के प्रोसेस ने आपको इतना मांझ दिया होगा कि आप इसके उत्तर को आराम से दे. Right? Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to call Astha. You may come and ask your question.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Astha.
So, can you hear me properly?
जी बिल्कुल आप साफ सुनाई दे रही हैं, बोलिए.
Yes, sir. Sir, my question is little different from others. It is related to, in general, personality, because it is. My question is, how can I influence someone so that I can make the changes that are required to be made? Like I am facing like people around me who are not like.
Okay.
For instance,
I got you. I got you. You want to say that you're in a situation where there are people around you and you want them to change their personality in X, Y, Z manner, and you believe it is important to do so. Is that the question?
No, sir. Actually, my question is a bit precise. Like questions related to like women issues or some things that we face into daily life. Like for instance, I know that someone near me is doing domestic violence, and in that case I need to make that person realize that he's doing wrong. So in that manner, how can I influence that person so that he can realize that it is wrong to do so? Like,
well, see, if it is that is a specific question about only about domestic violence, I mean, it becomes a little tricky because domestic violence to me is not a thing which is essentially fought with only the Gandhian way, expecting them to change. Okay, I mean, such person doesn't deserve that kind of leverage. But that is a different thing. In general, if you want to influence an individual where you believe that the person should change somewhat when it comes to personality, there are two ways. One is that you need to ensure that you cannot make the other person change unless you share a certain trust. That is one thing, right? So you'll have to win the trust of that particular person because preaching will not change. Second is the issue of the impact. If you're able to communicate to the person with obviously the trust that I said, that the consequences of not changing are real bad for the person or real bad for the in general people around them. Then probably the person can think of changing. But I'm again saying, I'm talking about only about a few things. For example, if I have a friend who is being a little disrespectful to women in general, I can probably take that route. But if you're talking about a person who is misogynist, if you are talking about a person who is blatantly anti-women, then obviously you need to go for harsher ways than just suggesting, because here suggesting is being complicit in the crime. And I can only say that that's not the best way of doing it. And second, you need to understand that when it comes to issues of sensitivity, be it against gender, on gender issue, caste issue, or issues of minority and things like that, it is unfortunately a long drawn process. Now, it's not something that can change overnight. But yes, do express in no uncertain words that it is not acceptable to you, and you refuse to be complicit with that behavior. That is so important. And if the person is very close around you, just get rid of him. Just get rid of him. There is absolutely no way you should be in that toxic environment perpetually. Nobody deserves to be in that toxic environment perpetually. And please understand, while you're bearing with a person like this, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm being judgmental. I don't know the person, and we are not even talking about the person. But if there are people around who are that toxic, and you choose to remain there, hoping that they will change, other people in the society or in the community who are in competition with you are not facing such a situation. So you're putting yourself unnecessarily into a disadvantageous position, where you'll be putting a lot of efforts, your lot of mental energy and space into something which is not that deserved. Just get rid of the person if possible. I'm not a life coach, so just take it with a pinch of salt. But this is what my 48 years of life has taught. Right? Yes. Can we wind up now? Yes.
Sir, can we extend the session for a few more seconds, few more minutes?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, I'm going to take the privilege as a moderator to ask my question. May I, with your permission?
Please.
Okay, thank you, sir. I want to ask that what are the criteria, the basis in which they classify the aspirant or the selector students for a designated post, like someone is selected for IPS, someone is for IAS, for IRS. So what are the criteria for selection after interview?
So it is primarily a mathematical exercise. primarily a mathematical exercise. There are few variables here. One variable obviously is your rank, and second variable is your preference, right? It is in the same way as if you have ever appeared in any JEE examination or other competitive examination, in the same manner as your allotted seats in different colleges. It's in the same manner. If a person is they say simply they'll take a rank 1 person. Rank 1 person will be given preference 1, right? Now the preference 1 is gone. Now the rank 2 person will get the next preference. If his preference is also preference 1 and preference 1 is available, will be given to him or her, and it will go like that. So it is primarily two things. One is your rank, second is your preference, and obviously there are other factors. For example, the factors like category you're coming from, right? Suitability, suitability in terms of, for example, whether you're eligible or not. For example, somebody who has got rank 1 has got given preference to IPS, but is a colorblind person, will not get IPS. So obviously eligibility thing is okay. But primarily what you have to do is try and get to the highest rank possible. That makes you, in all likelihood, you'll get your preferred choice. And that is as simple as that. Getting into more complexities will not solve, because there are issues of cadre and all, but that comes only after the service. Right? Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. With this, we'll wrap this question answer segment. Rishika, please go ahead. Okay. Now, I'd like to request Neha, our Executive Council member of Kartavya, to propose the official vote of thanks. Neha, over to you.
Good evening, sir. Neha this side. Thank you, Ayushi. And it's my privilege to have been asked to deliver a vote of thanks for this occasion. On the behalf of Kartavya, the Civil Services Society, and the entire college, Kirori College, I extend my heartfelt thanks to our guest speaker, Dr. Vijender Singh Chauhan, who spared time from his busy schedule and joined us today for the interaction. The interview with an interviewer is exquisite and inimitable, and I'm pretty sure that the knowledge that Sir gave us today will definitely help us in future battles of civil services. Also, I would like to thank the Principal Ma'am of Kirori College, Professor Vijender Singh Chauhan, also convener of our society, Dr. Vikram Singh Chaudhary, and the teachers associated with the society who gave us permission to organize this event. But the most, I would also like to thank the Kartavya members of this society who helped very hard to make this event successful. At last, but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants who are present here and joined us today for their coordination. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Neha. हमारा ये सेशन अब समाप्ति की ओर अग्रसर है। मैं कर्तव्य परिवार की ओर से डॉक्टर विजेंद्र सिंह चौहान जी का शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूंगी, जिन्होंने हमारे इस सेशन की इतनी शोभा बढ़ाई। मैं बाकी सभी लोगों का भी शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूंगी जो हमारे इस सेशन में उपस्थित रहे और हमें कृतज्ञ किया। आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you everyone.
अब मैं इस सेशन की समाप्ति चंद पंक्तियों के साथ करना चाहूंगी। कोशिश कर हल निकलेगा, कोशिश कर हल निकलेगा, आज नहीं तो कल निकलेगा, अर्जुन के तीर सा सद मरुस्थल से भी जल निकलेगा। इसी के साथ हमारा सेशन समाप्त होता है। मैं अब आप सभी से निवेदन करूंगी कि आप मीटिंग छोड़ के जा सकते हैं।
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.